Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about another game launching to glowing reviews and is From Software's next big release actually going to come out this year. It's going to be a good one because we have Jan Ochoa on the show. Jan, how are you doing?
I'm a little eepy. I'm a little tired. And then I forget that I'm going to North Carolina tomorrow.
North Carolina. Look, you're going to have a good time.
It's going to be great.
That snuck up on us. I think a lot of these things are sneaking up on us now.
Yeah. SGF in particular, sneaking up on us.
Oh, yeah.
And the next thing you know, Grub, who knows? We might be back in Jersey talking about whatever the game of the year is.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's just going to fly by. God, we're going to be halfway through the year here, not too long after Summer Game Fest. It's just going very, very quickly, like it always has been recently. And I know part of that is just getting older. The time does just start to fly. Doesn't mean I have to like it, Jan. I don't like it. I want to put my foot down. I'm against it. All right, I'm like debating about talking about this thing publicly, Jan. I feel like I could just tell you, and you don't have to tell anybody else. Okay?
Oh yeah, it's just you and I right now. This is our rehearsal run for Game S Mornings, where we test out all of our jokes.
Right. They say like your car or your computer, it's not yours until you bleed on it. I would say that the DDR pad that I just bought, okay. It now belongs to me. I was going a bit too hard this morning, and it's got those sharp metal edges, and I definitely got that right between like my toe and the ball of my foot, and kind of cut it a little bit. And I didn't realize it at first, so I was dancing with a bloody pad on there a little bit, and I looked down, I'm like, that doesn't look right, and it feels kind of sticky. It's like, so look, I don't want to tell people because I don't want people like, oh, but Jeff, be careful. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. But it was just a dumbass thing to do. And then it's a metal pad, Jan. I could wear shoes.
Yeah, you could.
That's the whole. I could, and I should be.
Yeah.
I just, I like the idea of like strengthening my feet and all that stuff. I'll go barefoot. No, I should just be wearing shoes so I don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Grub,
I forgot to tell you, we're not actually doing the dry run, joke goofing run of Game S Mornings. It's just the show now.
Shit.
Sorry. Oops.
Nah. I got it all cleaned up, everybody. We're good.
I think the saying is you want to cut a rug, not cut your foot.
Not cut your foot on the rug. I'm still going to be doing this every day. I like dancing in the morning. It makes me feel better about myself, and honestly, makes me feel better about all you. It really does.
Grub, I don't know if you've ever seen what like a Peloton class looks like, or one of those online like workout programs, but I think we should do a goof of one with a DDR pad.
That's not a bad idea. Where I'm like, really encouraging people to just break it down. I could bring that energy. I do kind of have those barefoot shoes. People are saying you could do that. It's not like the individual like sleeve for each toe, but it is like the wide base and the heel is right on the ground. Stuff like that. I could just wear those, and I think I will be. All right. You know what? Let's get into it. Let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb, and you could support us by going to giantbomb.com/join. And if you do that this week, you could do it this week by going to the DK64 marathon stream that's been happening every day and will continue today as well. Mike Minotti he's locked in to 101%ing that because we have gotten so much support. People did go to giantbomb.com/join, or they became a YouTube member, which is something you could do now that will contribute to it. Gets you all the premium stuff going forward. We'll have older premium drops there as time permits. We'll probably ask you guys, hey, what do you want? We'll add stuff like that. But yeah, hey, YouTube Premium open now. Go join. It's been excellent kind of to see the support. Excellent to see people immediately kind of get us to 101% Donkey Kong 64 because that's been a joy to watch with Mike. And now there's a new incentive. If you get us over the hump for our next incentive goal, you will be able to choose who gets blighted for Blight Club and with what game. You got to be a premium member. So you want to get in, become a premium member, and you can have your say. And that includes not just the Blight Boys. We're opening it up to Jan Ochoa and Jeff Baclar.
We don't. I mean, I'm the darling of this team, and I'm just going to also extend that to Games Media. Why would anyone want to hurt me?
I like Mike keeps saying that I think there's a case for all of us, for all any one of us could get, like Mike's case is it's always funny when he's upset, and then for Dan, kind of everyone just always wants to punish him, but he's doing Space Ace, so I think there's a chance everyone might feel like he's gotten his, and Mike just had Virtuoso. So I've been getting off pretty easy recently, so that's the case for me. But Jan and Jerf, I mean, come on, that would be novel and new.
I want to remind everyone, and it's because Jiminy Crickets in the Twitch chat reminded me, Jeff Backlar called all of you ugly at home.
He did do that. He did.
So, you can exact some revenge on him that way.
We do have some fun ideas. I think people are talking about having Jerf play Little Nicky, for example. So, a little Jerfy. Little Jerfy.
Little Jeffy. I can't even do the voice now. Little Jeffy.
Yeah. You just got to do what's her name? Oh, my God.
Oh,
I'm from the deep south.
The gays are coming after me. Little Jeffy. Okay, almost got there.
You guys just gotta support, and we'll make it happen. And thank you, everybody. Of course, it gets you every shows, gets you those premium shows that are exclusive, gets you early access to premium drops like Bully, the endurance run. You get a week early there, so that's happening right now. Don't miss out on it, everybody. Also, new merch on the store.giantbomb.com. All right, let's see. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Forza Horizon 6 reviews. It's got a 91 on OpenCritic, another game that's just like launching with its reviews above a 90. You know, we have seen this a couple times this year. Usually things kind of settle down below, like just below 90. We'll see. Forza Horizon often does hang on to a score right around here. I checked. Sean's the one who got this in fantasy. I think it was his first pick, and he was number one. So I think this was the top pick overall. A safe one, because these games usually deliver. Got a 9 out of 10 from Dominic Layton at the 6th Axis, who says, Forza Horizon 6 is another excellent entry in an excellent series from an excellent developer. Part of me wants more than that, but I have no idea how that would work. 5 stars from Chris Scullion at VGC. Forza Horizon 5 was already an exceptional racing game, but Forza Horizon 6 takes everything up a notch to deliver an even more engaging, entertaining, and all-encompassing experience. There's an absolute wealth of racing, exploring, and collecting to do here, and that's before the inevitable live service updates start adding even more content. Few games are as essential as this. And 5 stars from Jeff Grubb over at Giant Bomb, who says, in a lot of ways, this is my ideal video game. Becoming one with the controller and the vehicle in a drop-dead gorgeous setting that essentially never runs out of content. It's almost perfect, and I think it's fair to use that word for the craft that is on display in Forza Horizon 6. So, yeah, I played like 25-ish hours of this game now, Jan. I have been enjoying every minute of it. Mm-hmm. It really fits with the way I play the game, which is let's just go in there and drive around and go from hey, recommend me a race. I'll go to that next race, and I'll keep doing that until I get a little bit distracted, and then I'll start exploring the world. I'll go do some barn finds, and that sense of progression of just hanging out in the world is immaculate. Yes. The progression of like I'm unlocking wristbands, that is sort of just happening in the background for me. But I will say, like, the way that I want it to work is don't get in my way. Don't make me feel like I have to do anything annoying to get to the next cool thing. Instead, it's like, yeah, here's a bunch of cool stuff. And then once you unlock these wristbands, probably what's going to happen is we're going to put a big exclamation point on it with one of the showcases, which are, they've always had, but they're just as good here. Like racing against a giant mech is one of the early ones we've seen in some trailers. It's Japan. You could expect like a bullet train, stuff like that. These games always have you racing against a plane, and those like make it feel like, okay, I've kind of reached the next thing. And then I see the map, a bunch of new races have opened up in a new region that maybe I haven't explored as much. That's the typical, like, I'm doing the races progression. Then there's the progression of, maybe you don't want to, maybe you like, there's an awesome world here. This is Japan, and there's Tokyo City, and there's all this stuff to go explore, and it looks really nice. Maybe you just want to go see the sights. There is another progression path that's like a collection journal and a stamp collection.
Cool.
And you can sort of progress those by just going and finding those barn finds, the treasure cars, finding photo locations that are very scenic, stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, there are multiple ways to progress the game, but that progression is always more of a facade than anything else. And I like it that way. I think that's the right way to treat this, because this should just be the game where you can go in there, mostly turn off your brain and just drive some cars.
Nice.
And then to that end, it's, I have this every time I play Forza Horizon Jan, where it's like I'm playing it as Burnout Paradise or another sort of arcadey racing game, and it's perfect that way. It really is. They nail that. But it's like, oh yeah, no. If I begin turning off these assists, if I turn off anti-lock brakes and stuff like that, this is still a Forza simulation engine underneath all of that, and they've improved it here. Like the aerodynamic simulation is better than it's ever been. If you can really begin to feel that, and now it's like, oh my, the depth here is insane. It's, it's got the breadth of content, but then it also has depth. And I just begin to like fall in love with a car and being like, oh, now I know how this car behaves in corners and what I need to do. Like, what do I need to do to like make sure that I'm not losing my grip as I try to like throw weight onto the front tires. It's just, I play it and I just can't stop playing it, Jan. So they really nail these things. I think it's an ideal video game for someone like me.
Hell yes, Grub. You wrote a review that is now out on the website, and we also filmed a little roundtable discussion with Dan, who's played a little bit Forza Horizon 6, and Jeff Backlar, who had some cues to ask you. The only other thing I want to ask, Grub, is that I know, or two things. One, it's great to see a AAA racing game get this much praise and have this much love put into it, because we don't get them as often as we used to. And I've been hankering to get behind the wheel, Grub, whether an actual wheel or just a controller. And you've mentioned several times that this game is like specifically designed for the Xbox controller, really hammers on the rumble there. But the second thing, I know the Forza Horizon series, a little silly, and they will occasionally have those set piece races. You mentioned one in the review. Is that, do you get a lot of that throughout for Forza Horizon 6, or just a little bits and pieces there?
I think they dole them out at the right pace, which is one every few hours.
Okay.
There's a time when, like in this series, where they were coming like more than they probably should have, because they are very scripted. Those showcase races, they are about looking cool and less about like, oh, there's a Forza simulation underneath all this. All that doesn't matter in those showcase races. The showcase races is, we're going to make sure we have a catch-up mechanic, so that like there's always something near a photo finish. And that's what you want. You want it to just look cool. And they have the ones against the Chaser Zero, the giant Gundam style mech or whatever. And there's like 5 moments during a race like that where there's like, just, hey, you're going to hit a jump and we're going to hit you with slow motion, and the cool mech is going to be jumping over you and like just barely missing your car. And that stuff, again, it feels like a reward after you've spent time doing other progression. That is a trick they've done a lot. I'm glad they don't rely on it as much as they have in the past, because it has been played out a little bit. So when they drop it here and they do kind of just nail the Japaneseness of it all for this game, it's very well done. So yeah, I'm into the vibes. I'm obviously into the gameplay. The number of cars here, getting K-trucks, doing K-truck deliveries and stuff like that, food deliveries. That's been fun. It's a very Crazy Taxi-like. It's, just across the board, I think they've nailed it.
Grub, the K-truck representation is actually why you gave it a 5 out of 5, right?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Now, I haven't been able to find my minivan in there, Jan, but we'll see. Maybe I'll get that in an update or something. It's a good game. One that's like, obviously, if you have Game Pass, this is just such a no-brainer. But like if it's a game I just would recommend to just about anybody who has any affinity for driving in a video game. It is going to like hook you into it with its immaculate mechanics. All right. That's Forza Horizon 6. As Jan said, there's a written review on the website. We have that video discussion review on the website and on YouTube. You can check those out. We'll probably be playing more of it on the website at some point, get it into a UPF or something. I just want to hang out and play that game. Especially, I haven't done a ton of the multiplayer. I've done some. Would love to do multiplayer with y'all. That would be a great time. And honestly, we could do it with the community because you get those big like convoys going. So maybe we'll get that going next week sometime, everybody.
Hell yeah.
All right. Best Buy tells affiliates it's starting GTA 6 pre-orders next week, sparking speculation that a new trailer is coming. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Players have been speculating that a new trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6 could be coming next week. During a live stream earlier today, YouTuber Frogboy X1 Gaming, shout out to Frogboy, was checking his phone when he received an email from Best Buy's affiliate program. Yeah, can we get Ribbits in chat, please? The email informed him that a pre-order campaign for physical copies of Grand Theft Auto 6 would take place from May 18th through the 21st, with affiliates eligible to receive 5% for each sale they link to. Other Best Buy affiliates have since confirmed that they received this email too, suggesting that Best Buy is set to start taking pre-orders for the game starting on Monday. The news has now led to speculation that a new trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6 may be released to coincide with pre-orders starting. This would also coincide with Take-Two Interactive's upcoming Q4 2026 earnings conference call, which is set to take place on May 21st. So this would all be next week. Should Take-Two decide to release a trailer before this call, perhaps reconfirming the game's currently planned November 19th release date, it would allow the company to refer to it during its results presentation and its forecast for financial year 2027, and would eliminate the need for investors to ask questions about its status during the Q&A portion of the presentation. These are all good points because that is how it goes. We just saw this play out, Jan, actually, with Star Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Star Fox, everyone was saying, when are we going to get that announced? When is Nintendo going to talk about that? And a lot of people are like, Nintendo has an earnings call soon. If this game is really coming out in June, they're probably going to announce it before that. And they announced it the day before. That is probably how it's going to go down here, although, of course, there's no guarantee. We're speculating. But I think this seems about right to me, Jan, that this is the time that they would probably start talking about it. I wonder if one of the reasons we haven't heard much about Call of Duty, for example, is they're kind of waiting for Grand Theft Auto to do this, get it out of the way, and then Call of Duty will start talking about its stuff very quickly after that. Yeah, this sounds very plausible. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, speaking of Call of Duty, Lexi talking about this last year's entry into the Call of Duty franchise makes me hope that they let that one sit in the oven a little bit longer.
Oh, yeah.
SGF is right around the corner, Grub. We were talking about that. The rest of the year is fast and quick approaching, so this does make sense in terms of timing. I can feel the clamoring around us from the general gaming audience out there to also people wanting this game to finally come out so we can stop talking about this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm coming from. I'm sure this is going to be great. I feel bad for the poor developers out there that have to work crunch hours and the developers that have been slighted by Rockstar in the process. And I know that this game is going to fire off on all cylinders. It's going to be huge. But we've been talking about it for what feels like forever, Grub.
Yep, that is right.
And I feel like we've gone to that point of like peak saturation of talking about GTA 6 that if and when a trailer comes out, it is not going to be enough for the expectations that people have put on themselves for this game. You know, Rockstar has stayed relatively quiet to not overpromise and overdeliver on this game. But the people out there, also the chuds out there, are going to get really, really weird about it.
Yeah, it's going to be it is going to be so big that people will be able to sort of project whatever they need onto it to do whatever grift they have or whatever, whatever excitement they have. And it's going to be unrelated to whatever game we finally get. These trailers have been for Grand Theft Auto 6, that first trailer or the most recent one, it was huge, massive, like one of the fastest growing or most viewed YouTube videos that has ever been released. And it's probably going to be true for this one as well, especially as we start getting real details and we do get release date information, people will tune in for this thing. But yeah, it's I think I'm excited about this jam because it does make it feel like it's real. It'll come out. We'll be past it later this year, and then we can sort of get on with our lives. That definitely, I'm marking this on my calendar as one real next step towards that reality.
Yeah, and then we'll have to take 2 steps back for whenever the online portion of GTA 6 comes out, and whatever state that releases in, which I've been very, very curious, just talking with friends that are not as plugged into the industry, Grub.
Right.
A lot of them are just clamoring for that style of game that they can just immerse themselves in for hours on end, similar to like a Red Dead Redemption 2, that they don't quite care for any type of GTA Online, but the GTA Online mode just makes Rockstar so much money. So I'm curious as to how 6 will be received.
Yep. If we get the pre-order, like if the pre-orders do begin, if affiliates begin having codes to send people to Best Buy to buy the physical version of this game, that means we're also probably going to know the price. I guess last chance to have this conversation, probably, Jan. I'm saying $80. What do you think?
It's an easy $80. They're going to also sell another edition, similar to what Forza's doing, where maybe not a week early, maybe a couple days early, and I think they can get away with it.
Yep, I think so as well. I'm hopeful that this trailer just shows like some new novel stuff. We're at a point where not many big studios feel like they can try new things. They kind of have to just like do the most expensive looking thing, and Rockstar can do both. And that is, while their games are not always for me, I've had a lot of fun with Grand Theft Auto games before, and usually it's like that means I get to go online, get a bunch of mods, and just explore this sandbox. I hope the sandbox is more robust than ever before. That would be the thing I would be most curious about. And that would mean like, characters that look and feel alive and are living their lives. And if, that early trailer really made it seem like that was a possibility, we'll see how they deliver. At the very least, there's going to be some big, massive story that a lot of people will play through.
On top of that, Grub, I think the open world sandboxiness of it is going to lend itself well to social media. Games like Tomodachi Life, Pocopia, even Crimson Desert have been popping off in the different things that can happen in the world. And with GTA 6 probably being a gigantic fleshed out Florida or wherever else it's going to be in, I think it's going to drive people to pick it up because of like the social sharing aspect of it as well.
Yep. You know what? One last question. What are the chances? Give me a percentage number that when they announce this, that suddenly there is a Switch 2 version of Grand Theft Auto 6.
Oh, Grub, that's hard. I
don't think it's high.
I don't think it's high. Think it's high. Has there been any cloud versions of games on the Switch 2?
There haven't been, but you got to remember this thing's going to be on PS4 and well, wait, no, is it? No, I'm sorry, is it not? No, it's going to be on the base PS5 and the base Xbox Series S. That's the one I'm trying to think of. It's going to be on the Series S. So if it can be on the Series S, it should be able to run on the Switch 2 with some modifications.
Folks are saying what I'm thinking probably would not be at launch if it is an option at all. Yeah.
It's kind of thing where it's like that. To me, there is a 2% chance, a 1 out of 50 chance that they announce something and maybe it's coming months later. Much more likely that this is something that they tackle a year later or 2 years later. So we'll see.
Because this game either way is going to have legs that they can eventually circle back to when they eventually drop it on PC, when they think about it on Switch 2. I also see a higher percentage, Grub, for Rockstar to try and make a mobile version of this game.
The phones are definitely powerful enough. The more powerful phones, obviously. But yes, the phones could run this. It just, sell. I mean, for online, definitely.
Cool.
The core game of like selling those at $70, $80. People don't buy games that are that expensive on phones. So we'll see. Okay. Fortnite zero. Actually, you know what? Let's take a break and we'll come back and talk about the Fortnite's zero build updates. If you want to skip out on these ads, you can do that. Just go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. We'll be right back. All right, it's Game S Mornings. Jeff Grubb, Jana Choa. I said giantbomb.com/join, but you could also go to youtube.com and become a premium member on there. And that will also get you the ad-free version of the show. We'll upload that just like everything else. All right. Fortnite Zero Build is getting a much-needed overhaul this week. This is from Phil Owen at GameSpot. Epic is giving the Zero Build version of Fortnite Battle Royale a massive makeover on May 14th with the last major update in Chapter 7, Season 2. Among Epic's many new additions are a new utility slot exclusive to Zero Build, glider redeploy at any time when jumping off tall objects, and unlimited sprint when your pickaxe is out, and you'll no longer die from fall damage. These are some pretty fundamental changes that are likely to significantly alter the flow of battle in Zero Build. This is the first time since it was introduced in 2022 that Zero Build is getting its own overhaul completely separate from build mode. Okay. Jan, I guess my question from all that is can Fortnite get its juice back, get its mojo back? Obviously there's still a lot of people playing the game, and when they have big events, people do go back to it. But I get the sense that these days, when I start talking about a Fortnite story, the eyes of many people in this audience glaze over. People tune out. They're just like, I played Fortnite. I'm done. I've moved on.
Yeah.
So is Epic ever going to move on? I'm probably not. They probably are in a situation where they can't. So do updates like this move the needle? What do you think?
I mean, it's entertaining to hear all of these different changes and how it adds to the mobility and will ultimately affect the gameplay. But it isn't enough to incentivize me to go back and get back into Fortnite. At this point, I feel like the last major thing, at least in our spaces, that made Fortnite kind of like revitalized it or put it back into like the mind's eye, if you will, was the the Simpsons pack of stuff with having Springfield and everything. And I can't immediately think of what would give it another boom. I actually can, but I don't want to put that evil out into the world.
Hentai.
Of course, the hentai virus. But I can't think of a major franchise that would incentivize like a lot of the, I guess, millennial to older millennial audiences to go back to it. I feel like it has its built-in audience because that has just become their de facto game. But I don't know what Fortnite can do to get and drive in new audiences that haven't already like dove into it.
Yeah, obviously, if they haven't dove in at this point, it seems unlikely that they will. Now, obviously, there's a lot of young people coming online every day, and this is a game that could certainly be there for them. But a lot of those kids have already started playing Roblox, and Fortnite tries to meet them by being its own version of Roblox, and that just doesn't seem to work. And for as much as that can be a strategy, obviously, Epic wants older audiences that have more discretionary spending. And it just feels like they have played this game out. They have had their time with it, and the ability to sort of be surprised by it and have that sense of novelty that, hey, I'm getting something new here, is becoming more and more challenging, and more and more challenging, I should say. And then for the, this Zero Build mode, which is definitely the thing that I would be playing if I was playing Fortnite. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, I mean, some modifications here or there. I mean, these sound like improvements to me for sure. But it's not the thing. It's not the headline that is going to grab me and bring me back. And really, even if you I obviously like Star Wars. You do Star Wars stuff all the time, and that's not bringing me back. And The Simpsons was great, but there's only so many Simpsons in the world that you can pull that lever on. So, yeah, I think Fortnite just continues to be in a weird space, and it's not that weird, right? This is just what time does to shit. This is normal, but it's a little abnormal because this game is supposed to be forever. It feels that way, at least to me at this point.
Yeah, like Grub, I don't know if you saw, but they added Overwatch skins to Fortnite.
That's right, yeah.
And I didn't even see that make a massive impact at all, like across the various timelines. So I don't know what else they can do other than trying to tap into an existing big audience. But like you mentioned, you and I are big Star Wars fans. Didn't feel compelled, if at all, to go back to explore any of those. We reported on that extraction shooter mode featuring Disney characters. I don't know if that's going to be enough to drive people back.
No way.
Especially because extraction shooters are just such a niche genre in themselves that, like, getting people to get out of either the zero build mode or the standard mode is challenging enough. We saw that with where the UGC stuff that they were really pushing hard didn't take off as much as Epic wanted it to be, or wanted it to.
Yeah. I mean, we'll continue to kind of like track games like this as they try to like navigate their the late life. And I mentioned Roblox. That is a game that came out in 2006 and sort of found its forever niche. That's 20 years old, and I think Epic absolutely wants Fortnite to be able to get to a point where one day it's 20 years old and there's more people playing than ever before. That seems like a difficult transition because the kinds of people it mostly attracted are people who are used to playing games for maybe a couple of years, then they do move on to the next one. And Fortnite has been able to sort of transform itself into the next one a couple of times. But I think it has found itself at a fork in the road where that you mentioned the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, is that going to bring people back? No, that's done out of obligation to Disney for the big payday they're getting from Disney. And that serves a completely different purpose than exciting the audience that you want, that your core audience, at least. I mean, you're going to be able to bring people in with the Disney stuff for sure, but that is not what we're talking about here.
Epic, I know you're listening. Get your checkbooks ready, okay? All right? Address it to Jan Ochoa, and I promise I'll share the money with the gang and everything. Just release the sitcom season. Just do the sitcom season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where they need to like fully embrace millennial bullshit. They need to like fully just be like, that's what this game is at this point. It's kind of cringe. It's just it's the kind of stuff that these like Austin Powers, like the Michael Myers season of just like Mike Myers, not Michael Myers, Mike Myers, just like all of his characters, all the Adam Sandler characters in the season. Like that's the kind of stuff that I think actually would move the needle again. And it's dumb and embarrassing a little bit.
We've joked around about like releasing the Seinfeld characters, the Friends characters, hell, throw in the Sex and the City ladies. Yeah. But the part I want to posit to everyone that I think would at least get a chuckle out of everyone is if Fortnite adds a laugh track.
Holy shit, Jan. Yes. Like, I mean, look, that would be a good use of AI, right? Just like use a little bit of context, like that AI could sort of glom onto to be like, now is the time to hit and when it's bad, it would be even better. Just like mistimed laughter would actually rule. I would love that.
If you were playing in duos or like a squad and then your squad member dies and then you just hear the crowd, oh,
yeah,
would just go so hard.
Yeah. I just like, two characters that like Ross and Rachel meet and the audience go woo, like Saved by the Bell and shit. Yeah.
Oh, Grub, I smell the check coming.
Cut the check. Come on, Sweeney, give us your money. All right, let's keep going here with its latest update. Nintendo has already added most of Virtual Boy's game library to Switch Online. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Nintendo has added 5 new Virtual Boy games to its Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack subscription service. From today, users with physical Virtual Boy with the Virtual Boy accessory will be able to play V-Tetris, Jack Bros, Space Invaders Virtual Collection, Virtual Bowling, and Vertical Force. Jan, if you were to go out and try to buy those games today, that's like $1,400 worth of games right there. In Japan, a 6th game, Virtual Fishing, is also available from today. Today's new releases mean that in the West, 12 games are now available on the Virtual Boy NSO service, adding to the launch games that debuted in February. Nintendo previously confirmed a total of 16 Virtual Boy games planned for release on NSO, including Mario Clash and Mario's Tennis. Users are also still waiting for the promised previously unreleased Zero Racer and D-Hopper. Given that only 22 games were released for the Virtual Boy console over the course of its brief life in the 1990s, players will have the vast majority of the VB library. Yeah, Jam, just by percentages, this is already the most complete library on NSO, which is really stupid. But I love it. I mean, we knew these were coming. They did tell us they were going to have 16 games in this library. I think it's almost all of them except for like Waterworld and maybe a couple others. Yeah, I still get excited about this. I have the Virtual Boy accessory sitting out over there. It, like everyone else, it does give me a headache, and I don't care. I don't care. So cool. I'm glad they're doing this. It is, their dumbest system, and they're giving it the most like complete preservation treatment. It's a little silly, Jan.
Yeah, if they're going to go through the lengths to release a peripheral to emulate the experience of the Virtual Boy, I would hope that they put as much of that library, if not the library in its entirety, out on Nintendo Switch Online for preservation purposes. Also, just to let everyone know how odd that platform was. Grub, how many games came out in total for like the Virtual Boy?
22.
Oh, okay. You're almost there, Nintendo.
Almost there. So the only Virtual Boy games that haven't been confirmed as coming to the service are Nestor's Funky Bowling, which I think should eventually happen because that is a fully Nintendo game based on the Nestor character from Nintendo Power, right, chat? Panic Bomber, SD Gundam Dimension War, Space Squash, Virtual Fighting, and that's not Virtua Fighter, that's Virtual Fighting, Virtual Lab, Virtual League Baseball, and Kevin Costner's Waterworld, which, that may be the most important Virtual Boy game.
Yes, of course. That they should save that one for last.
You can blight me with a Virtual Boy game word. Yeah, if that's what you want to do. Absolutely, I would do that. Let's make it a Waterworld. Why not? As a reminder, this is part of Nintendo Switch Online's expansion pass. So it's the $50 a year option, I believe. And then you do need the physical adapter to play these, and that is either the $100 Virtual Boy shell that looks like a Virtual Boy and behaves like a Virtual Boy, or there is a cheaper cardboard alternative that is $25. Yeah, Nintendo. All right, Xbox PC app references Game Pass expansion into China and possible disc to digital feature initiative. We'll talk about it. The Verge reports that that references in the Xbox PC app point to Project Saluki, described as China market expansion for Game Pass. It might feature rewards and subscription tiers. This same update also has this thing called Positron, which has far fewer details, but seems to be some sort of convert your disc to a digital ownership key instead. Which is reminiscent of the old Xbox One controversy that happened on early in its time, where it's like, hey, yeah, all your games are basically digital, even if they're discs, and you're basically just going to activate it on your system, and then the disc is worthless. Now, there's no indication that that is necessarily what's happening here. We don't know what's happening. It probably does have something to do with the next generation Xbox, Project Helix. And how it will exactly work is up in the air. But let's say it did work exactly like it was going to work on Xbox One. Things have changed, right, Jan? Like people would probably be like, shit. I mean, I don't like this still. But now it feels like the tides have turned enough. Or would people still be able to like create enough of an uproar that Microsoft would have to rethink it yet again?
I would hope. I mean, with all the changes and things getting shaken up at Microsoft and Xbox, I would hope that they're listening at least a little bit. But given the news cycle with Xbox, Grub, it's very hard to predict what if they're listening or who are they listening to. So I'd be interested to see if there's enough uproar, if anything actually does even get mentioned over there.
Yeah, I think that this is like something that they would always be like looking to have like worked on. There's no guarantee that this stuff actually is enacted in any one way. And like the engineering team figuring this stuff out is going to be very different than the public relations team figuring out how to actually present it to the public. Mm-hmm. And then, going into China, there is so many considerations there. China is a regulatory nightmare for Chinese companies, let alone foreign companies, which is it's basically a non-starter. So this would be like a curated version of Game Pass, is what it sounds like, Jan. What do you think?
I mean, speaking on that, Greg, we saw how Slay the Spire 2 got review bombed to hell on Steam just because that was one of the only means of communication from Chinese audiences. So this is definitely going to have to be a carefully curated library of Game Pass that is going to be very different than what is available everywhere else. And it is not just with video games, it's also other forms of entertainment that have to go through an incredibly strenuous regulatory process. That being said, I still feel like if Microsoft can get this up and running, the Chinese audience is massive. And if they can get this to take off, it will take off.
Yes. I mean, it does feel like, hey, this was always in the works. Xbox One got released in China a few years back after the console ban was sort of lifted, but every game still has to be approved one by one by the government. It's not like the ESRB rating system where it's like it's a self-regulatory thing. You can put your game out. You can put your game out without a rating, but some stores just won't handle it. No, you just can't be out in China unless you have a approval from the government. Now, of course, there's the gray market and Steam. People just download Steam and find ways to make that work, and that it exists in this like weird limbo. But technically, you're supposed to get approval from the government, and Microsoft would have to do that. So this would have to be this curated version of Game Pass, and then it sounds like the real answer here for Xbox and Microsoft is so like, yeah, we're going to have the library of games. That's what people think of as Game Pass, but maybe it's time we shift this, what like Game Pass can be. And in China, at the very least, or starting in China at the very least, we can begin offering up other sorts of things that feel like the main attraction, because China has a different sort of relationship to video games. And that could be premium currencies for a lot of free-to-play games, because the Chinese audiences just do not have the same sort of immediate skepticism for free-to-play games that a lot of the rest of the world does. Mm-hmm. They just think that's very normal in that country and has been basically from the beginning. And then there's an obvious tie here where it's like Microsoft is Blizzard, and Blizzard is huge in China. It's like it's huge everywhere. And so it's like maybe they can offer up special goodies in Blizzard games, and that could be the reason to get Game Pass in China. It sounds like they're trying to set up Game Pass to be different depending on where it's launching, where it's coming out, and like obviously to deal with the regulation, but also like making games is hard. Making sure that you always have new games in Game Pass is always going to be a challenge. What if that was emphasized less? What do you think?
Yeah, Grub, I feel the Chinese audience and greater industry and how the industry is deployed over there is such a black box to me, just because of the heavy regulatory procedures. But it's interesting. Chat points out weird here, or Wired. In China, they get special unique version of WoW with a lot of cool specific stuff. It's kind of neat is how they finish that off. So I could easily see them spinning that off also into WoW, if maybe this is how you a slightly cheaper way of how you are able to play World of Warcraft over in China. And like you mentioned, maybe there's different special currency because that audience is conditioned in a different way than how other audiences are. I'm interested to see. And also, I don't know if this opens up smaller titles to make its way over to China and for them to gain success over there as well. I'm into that if they can get through whatever regulatory process they have to.
Yep. It's, China is a nut that all these companies have wanted to crack for a very long time. And there is no one obvious way to do it. And for a long time, the conventional wisdom has just been, it is so challenging. It's not worth doing. Just partner with someone domestically and let them take their massive cut, which is how it has worked. One of the reasons it's been, the Chinese market is so frustrating to so many developers is you got to give your 30% cut to the platforms. Then you got to give your 30% cut to the publishers on top of that. And then sometimes there's like these platforms inside of platforms and they get another cut, and it leaves very little for the developer. Obviously, Microsoft is large enough that they can navigate that a little bit better. They have had a little bit of a rocky relationship with NetEase, which is their Blizzard partner in China. But that seems to be mostly back on. And I bet NetEase would be like, yeah, if you want to try to figure out Game Pass and give people more reasons to play the game through us by getting bonuses through Game Pass, we can figure that out. Although it's a possibility that Microsoft begins doing that with the idea of one day they're the ones publishing World of Warcraft and whatever else in China. But that's going to take years and years to get to that point, and it has to sort of start small, and that seems to be what this would be about. All right, Amazon still eyeing a Lord of the Rings game after reported MMO cancellation. Jesus, this is from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. Amazon Games has confirmed it has not given up its efforts to make a new The Lord of the Rings game after multiple MMO projects in Middle-earth did not work out. Amazon Games boss Jeff Gratis told Eurogamer, "Our creative team continues to explore a compelling new game experience that does justice to Tolkien's world. We are working closely with Middle-earth and remain excited about the IP." Middle-earth is the name of the company that now owns and operates this, right? And they're not, when they say we're working with Middle-earth, I don't think that means we're working with the denizens of the fantasy world. Amazon's latest attempt to make a Lord of the Rings MMO failed to materialize in anything, as it was reported in October 2025 that the game had been canceled amid wider layoffs. A source told Eurogamer that this project, which was in the works alongside rights owner Embracer Group, important to remember that, entered pre-production only months before the layoffs were announced in 2025. The MMO project with Embracer was announced before talking to any developers, a source said, adding that the game had only 1 or 2 people working on it as a side project for many years. According to the source, only a single piece of concept art was created for the project. However, when Amazon said it was winding down its other MMO, New World, the company reportedly planned to reassign staffers to the Lord of the Rings MMO, but that effort did not work out. This was Amazon's second attempt at a Lord of the Rings MMO, as the company previously partnered with Liu for an MMO based on the popular series, but that was canceled back in 2021. Amazon and MMOs, they love this stuff. They keep going back to it. They still see it as the future. For me, Jan, it's this story is the story of the last few years, which is a prestige IP is just not a strategy. You just can't be like, hey, I have an idea. Let's go get an IP. And it's like, well, okay. Every company's tried that in the last several years, and there was a period there where that was the strategy for companies like EA with Star Wars and a bunch of other stuff. And it just obviously was a half-baked thought or what it did was it led them back to where they were right before that, which was we need to own our own IP and go back in that direction. It's like, so Amazon, what else do you have going on here? What other thoughts do you have beyond Lord of the Rings is a recognizable IP?
I also don't know. Grub, Lord of the Rings Online is still a thing, correct?
I think Lotro's still a thing. Yeah, I never played it. I don't know much about it.
But Grub, I feel like there has been a strong appetite online for a Lord of the Rings single player game, because Shadow of Mordor is a thing. Yep. No one has been able to shut up about the Nemesis system. And if I'm correct in my thinking, WB still owns the rights to the Nemesis system.
Yeah, they have the patent. Yeah,
the patent. So you couldn't have that in a new Shadow of Mordor, but I don't think that should stop you from having another one of those Jimmy Jams. That I don't think we need another MMO. And Grub, you're right. Before it felt like the solution was let's go acquire an IP and work backwards from there. Obviously, that has not panned out well for them. But also, I feel like the problem, Grub, is this starting and stopping and starting and stopping. What was Amazon's last MMO that
was it New World? Did they have they had one since New World?
It might have been.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. New World, sure. But I thought that did fairly well, and then they shut it off.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
So
I don't know. I mean, I don't get it.
If I was like in the Lord of the Rings fandom and was excited about an upcoming MMO, I'd be a little bit hesitant because you could throw in a bunch of time, a bunch of hours, a lot of money into playing this game, only for it to get shut down a year, maybe 2 years later.
Yep. I guess I'm just a little shocked that Amazon's plan is still more MMOs. After New World, I would have been like, okay, that one seemed like it couldn't have gone better.
Yeah.
And they still had to close it down. And now they seem to have like a really strong bond with Embracer and their ability to like maybe get a decent deal on using the Lord of the Rings IP. Maybe that's there, but yeah, it just feels like a little bit lost.
I'm curious because it seems like the James Bond IP is working well with IOI. So I wonder where the disconnect is happening with some of the other IP that Amazon owns. Because it's not just Lord of the Rings, James Bond. I believe it's also Tomb Raider?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
And there may be like one other thing.
That also sounds right. All right, let's get through the rest of these stories. There's some other stuff dropping. We'll see if we can get to that. BioShock creator says Switch 2 proves graphics have reached diminishing returns. This is from Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. Ken Levine talked to IGN, said realism doesn't age as well as more stylistic things. BioShock still looks good, I think, because it wasn't trying to get every nut and bolt super realistically rendered. It was more stylized. Look at, say, the Switch 2 and even the new Steam machine coming out. Those are not massive technological upgrades, obviously. That wasn't their strategy. I think people are realizing that we've sort of hit a diminishing returns with that. And look, he's not wrong. No. I just feel I would be like, it's kind of been that way for a long time. I think it's been that way plainly and obviously since for the last decade. I always point to Doom 2016. That's my like hallmark of games don't need to look better than that, and games haven't really looked better than that since Doom 2016. And then it has performance as well, like great performance and all that stuff. But I mean, going back to the Wii, this has been Nintendo's strategy of we can rely on stylistic visuals over realistic visuals, and that will save us a lot of headaches and time and money, and people won't care as much. And now it's like, yeah, Nintendo was way ahead of the curve there, but in the grand scheme of time, they weren't that ahead of the curve. They were just like, they spotted the problem and they had a solution. Yeah. And to kind of come in here and be like, yeah, but I guess I would say to this, it's like, you still don't hear many developers talking this way. And I think it's maybe a good sign because I think, Jan, I would be very happy if it became common wisdom that you should just be making your game to run well on the Switch 2, period. I just, at least visually. I get that the CPU could be an issue if you're trying to do a bunch of simulation stuff. That's fine. But we're talking about visual fidelity. If your game visually can like look good and perform well on a Switch 2, I think you're going to be in a better position to succeed than if you try to take advantage of the PlayStation 5 Pro, for example.
I'm 100% with you, Grub. I also feel like you're going to reach out to more audiences that way in the long run versus trying to have whatever hyper-realism graphical fidelity on the PS5 Pro, and especially as that freaking console climbs up in price as the days go by. I just become more slightly disinterested with it. But speaking about games that age well, look at Astrobot, look at Ratchet and Clank. From this generation, I believe those games are going to continue to look good years afterwards. It isn't new things that Ken Levine is positing, but I guess I'm glad to see that someone at a high position like him is thinking about this as well. He's right. BioShock 1, 2, Parts of Infinite that I've seen, still haven't played it, still look great by today's standards.
Agree. From Software and Katakawa, From Software's parent company, say the Duskbloods is still set to release in 2026, and also FromSoft is going to do more self-publishing internationally. That'll save them money. It'll get them a bigger cut of the pie, give them more control over marketing and all this stuff. Sounds like that's one of their plans to grow From Software even more. But yeah, more importantly, maybe is the Duskbloods still scheduled for this year. They said that in plain language, that Duskbloods is 2026. They also said Elden Ring Tarnished Edition for Switch 2 is also 2026. But that one feels pretty likely at this point, and maybe even very soon. So yeah, Duskbloods, you still buying this one for 2026, Jan?
I think so, Grub. I think so. Especially since we are in a post Night Rain world with FromSoft, and we've seen the success of that. I feel that From can nail it with the Duskbloods. I checked out the Tarnished edition, and that played completely fine compared to reports of it running very poorly from a couple months ago. So I'm hopeful that this is still coming out in 2026. The thing that I'm most intrigued by is From getting into self-publishing on their own accord.
Yep. Yeah, I think that. I mean, it's the right move. They seem to run afoul of their partners. Not run, but they seem to get annoyed by their partners, whether it's Activision or Sony or anyone else. And it kind of leaves a bitter taste in everyone's mouth. It's like, you know what, just handle this stuff yourself and put these games out everywhere. You've had enough success now at this point to earn that and probably to afford it, and build up those skills. And then you could sort of insulate yourself from the things that just seem to annoy the people over at FromSoft. Okay, and then, all right, chat. I got a game for chat. I want you guys to list the games that you think Capcom says are its leading brands. There's a list here. Let's see if you guys can get it. There are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which ones? Okay. They do not have Street Fighter listed here.
What?
So it's not comprehensive. Let's see. Resident Evil. Yes. Actually, you know what? So let's see. Resident Evil and Street Fighter aren't listed here. So obviously those are even above this. So think like one tier down from that. Mega Man is there. Yes, Mega Man. Monster Hunter is also up there with the Street Fighter and stuff. Okay, so let's see. Breath of Fire is not there. Beautiful Joe. Devil May Cry is there. Yes. Ace Attorney is there. Dragon's Dogma is there. I don't think I'm seeing a couple of these, though. There's a couple on here still that people haven't mentioned. Did anyone say Dead Rising? Dead Rising is one of the answers. Then Okami and Onimusha. So they have leading brands here listed as Mega Man, Devil May Cry, Dead Rising, Okami, Dragon's Dogma, Ace Attorney, and Onimusha. Obviously, the fact that Street Fighter, Resident Evil, and Monster Hunter aren't here is like suggesting something about what they mean here by leading brands, which is we want to like make it clear that we still believe in these ones. But are you surprised to see Dead Rising there, Jan?
I'm surprised, Grub. If anything, I guess Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, and RE not being on here just in Capcom's mind makes me think that they are totally in their own lanes at this point, that they are kind of separate from this core Capcom IP. I'm very curious what this may potentially mean at internally at Capcom as to like what
they do have like a couple of words under here where it says leading brands. It says like new IP, sequels, remakes, ports, etc. So like it means like all of these are at least up for maybe one of those things. I don't know what new IP would necessarily mean, but maybe they mean like going into other realms of media or something like that. Which I could see that for any of these.
I feel really bad for the Dino Crisis fans out there, Grub.
Yeah, it does feel like they missed their window. They were working on a Dino Crisis thing of some sort recently, and I think they just canceled it. And it's like they're like, we'll focus on Resident Evil even more, which I'm sure is actually the right move. And eventually they'll run out of Resident Evil, and I think the Dino Crisis will be waiting for them at that point.
Grub, they're going to circle back, is what they're going to do. They're going to
circle exactly. All right, just real quick, Square Enix reported its earnings. Net sales were down, but profits were up. Final Fantasy Tactics, Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 7 Reimagined all did very well for them. And it's like, okay, that's pretty good news, because I feel like we come out of Square Enix's years previously, and we get a kind of equivalent releases, and Square never seemed happy. So maybe they're actually finding the ones that are working, and they can keep doing more of that. The headline for why overall revenue was down is that Final Fantasy XIV had Dawn Trail the previous year, did not have something equivalent this year. And obviously that's changing because now they have more stuff coming for Final Fantasy XIV. All right, that does it for the headlines. Let's get to the poll question from yesterday. I am going to bring up the most fresh results right now. Let's see here. Did you get Saros? Yes or no? I did. I said yes. 17% of people also said yes. 83% said no. Jan, I think that there is a chunk of that 83% where it's just as soon as that thing is $50, I will jump on. And then a much bigger slice that's like once that thing is $40 or less, I will be there. I'm like having a conversation in a comment section right now with someone about like are roguelites and roguelikes niche. And it's, I just think it's a hard thing to say when Slay the Spire 2 launched to 500,000 concurrent players on Steam and sold 3 million copies in a week and 5 million copies in a month. Those are blockbuster numbers. That is a blockbuster video game. So, whether or not it's popular because it's a roguelike or whatever, I mean, it's clear that those games can find an audience, and it's not the exact same kind of game that Saros is, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I think the bigger problem is just the price. People have an idea in their head of the value of a roguelike, and $70 ain't it. And I think we've kind of accepted that is what's happened here with Saros, right?
Yeah, I think maybe if the story, I don't want to say developed more, but resonated with audiences better, it could have justified the $70 price tag for folks to like want to re-engage with that, go into runs to like kind of get more story. But I think a lot of people will unfortunately see this as like, this is just Returnal again.
Yes.
And
Returnal was new and fresh and a part of a kind of a launch window of PS5. It had a lot more going for it.
Yeah, but I can see that audience or those people also thinking like $70, especially when there are newer experiences or other games that will, I don't want to say command your time better, but or respect your time better. I'm not saying that Saros doesn't, but like, there are other games out there I can see people just waiting to spend their money on, like a Forza, like 007.
Yep. All right. A new poll question. Do you care about realistic graphics? Yes or no? Been a minute since I've just asked that kind of question. Realistic graphics. I don't like the word graphics anymore, Jan. I just don't like the way it sounds. Feels like does not appreciate the nuance of what video game visuals are actually doing these days, but I think it serves this question.
I think if anything, us here at GB care more about style than anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. And style is so nebulous, right? It's not just the graphics, not even just the art, just everything, the presentation, the UX. Honestly, sound effects, what happens when you press a button, like just the feedback, all that stuff contributes to style, and it's so much more than just graphics.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get the results of that on Giant Bomb's Game Mess Mornings tomorrow to wrap up the week. Looking forward to it, everybody. Speaking of Giant Bomb, Jan, I mean, there's more Donkey Kong happening. What time's he starting today? I know we got some other stuff happening on the schedule that might cause a little bit of a break.
Mikey is going to be starting after we wrap Tomodachi Life later, or Marry Me Tomodachi today.
Yep. And going into the evening, everybody. So it means he's not going to have a mega long stream. He might. Maybe he goes to 4 a.m. We'll see. But, I think this
have a
guarantees...
podcast today?
We do have a podcast today, yeah. But I mean, you can take a break from that, too, if he needs to. I don't know. We'll see. And then he will probably be playing tomorrow as well. So, but tune in. I think there's a strong chance that he will be bothering the Beavers today. And again, you're just not going to want to miss that. I need to see... Because if he one-shots it, it's going to be the most impressive thing I've ever seen, and I think there's a chance that happens. Not really, but if he does, that'd be amazing. And then if he doesn't, I think he's going to be on there for a minute because that is an obtuse minigame.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, please.
Just a reminder, folks at home, every new premium subscriber or new YouTube member feeds into the goal of blighting one of the owners. And that's not just the normal Blight Boy rotation of Grub, Dan, and Mikey. You can also blight Jeff. And that's it. Jeff Backler. That's it.
And Jan Ochoa. He's on the list. Guys, I think Jan's the funniest one to do. That's the one I want to see.
There's nothing funny about that at all.
I'm really, people are like, hey, what about your friends getting, Lexi or Jason Finelli on there? If we can get here with this one, we'll turn this into a semi-regular thing. Again, it will be probably premium, because again, this is about new premium users and current premium stuff, people getting special goodies. But yeah, if we can get there with this by the end of the week, everybody, then yeah, we'll make it happen.
I'm confident we will get close, if not hit the goal. Right, Grub? This whole campaign I'm just trying to split the vote.
Yeah. Oh boy, has it really been 8 months since I've been blighted? That can't be right. No, I played that Sonic game just a little bit ago, right?
Grub, you shut up. You shut up. Don't talk about it. All right.
Yeah, you're right. I really do need to just shut my mouth. All right.
Making Nikki also play Little Nikki would be funny.
I need to see what Nikki thinks of Little Nikki. That's... okay. All right, people, we got a lot of work to do here. So let's, and yeah, that's part of it. Like, you get to choose who gets blighted. You're going to have a say in the game that they play as well. Obviously, if it's like perfect like that, we might give you one option, but we'll see. All right, please go and support us. Giantbomb.com/join. Go to our YouTube page, click the join button there, become a member. We really appreciate everybody. It's been a lot of fun this last year of being independent and kind of figuring this stuff out. And every day is like a fun new challenge. And there's all kinds of stuff. It's like, oh, man, we didn't consider that. But we come out on the other side being like, oh, we got a handle on this. And then I'm looking forward to SGF and GB at night and just kind of doing it all again this next year and doing bigger and better stuff with the help of y'all. And good work, Jam. Good work to the team. Thank you, everybody. Let's get out of here for today. Thank you for watching. Jan, thank you for hanging out with me and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's the only way to start a Thursday, Grub.
Y'all are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.